Today was filled with blindsides in the Idaho 4 case. First, we have a yassified Kristy Goncalves saying she doesn't think the investigation was thorough enough. And then she went on to give some pretty horrific details about the condition of her daughter's body when she was found.
And the way that room's put together, if you come through that door, you can't get out of that room.
Completely, totally trapped.
Yeah. You're in a bed.
Tiny room. The bed was the entire room. You could barely open up the door without swiping the foot of the bed. And it was wall. You know, the headboard was up against the wall. The side where Kaylee was on was up against the wall. And if you can imagine Kaylee in an upright sort of position, up in the corner, slumped. I mean, she was trapped.
And they also said that she fought back. And so now we're learning that everything is not what we were told. We were told that these kids were killed in their sleep. And we know 2 of them were in a battle for their lives, at least 2 of them. So how did the roommates not hear? One of the most important things in cases like this is to give the family enough information so that they have confidence that the right guy is being charged. I mean, this is not par for the course. They are questioning evidence, like that evidence wasn't processed correctly and that they just tore the house down. Like, this is bombshell. Fast forward to Bryan Kohberger's hearing.
We are streaming now, and that is on a YouTube channel. You don't want to be on a camera, you probably should leave.
So Kohberger's attorneys start with that stupid argument that the burden of proof for an indictment should be beyond a reasonable doubt.
The state's decided that it wants to try to kill someone. Thank you.
The prosecution's arguing that they're just trying to delay, that it's not a real argument because, you know, the precedent has been set for decades.
Hodgson said something that I think needs to be addressed. He makes the allegation the state is trying to kill someone here, and frankly, I find that offensive. What the state is trying to do is to enforce the law that our legislature has put in place. It says, in cases such as this, with facts like this, a jury is entitled to decide not only guilt, but potential felony. We are simply trying to fulfill our responsibilities under the law. To characterize it as the state is trying to kill someone, it's just simply appealing to raw emotion, and it has no place in this courtroom.
There's no confusion about what the standard is for grand jury indictments in Idaho or in any other state. The defense is sort of like, if this goes to trial when they're speaking, what's the strategy to cast doubt? So I think their first argument about the grand jury indictment, throwing it out, it doesn't make them look like they are defending an innocent client. It is a stalling technique. They are trying to stall because they need a lot more time. The prosecution suggested a trial date of summer 2024. So the prosecution's primarily worried about logistics because the university has a ton of events where all the local hotels are sold out, and this is a big case with a lot of attention and a lot of witnesses, and it's gonna be a pain to try to find accommodations for these people.
We do not believe a summer of 2024 trial is realistic in any way. Understanding the state's concerns, if a trial were to happen in Latah County, we would suggest looking at summer of 2025. I believe this is more like a 12 to 15 week trial. Our request, no sooner than summer of 2025. And I say that with fear, Your Honor.
So Ann Taylor basically agrees with the prosecution's concerns, but says that there's no way that they can be ready by this summer of 2024. She's talking about the terabytes of data, that there's 51 terabytes, which is like an entire country filled with filing cabinets. And there's no rhyme or reason, there's no order. And that kind of mirrors the Goncalves family argument this morning, saying like they got a trash can from Kaylee's room and it looks like it had never been gone through. I don't know if that's true. That's their impression. And they had said earlier that they had never been in the house. So it seems like, I don't know how they picked up the trash can. Like
Squeezy applesauce thing like you would give to like a toddler. Yeah. It did not appear to have been gone through.
I would assume that they did go through the trash and they put stuff back in. I would think, but who knows? But Ann Taylor's argument saying that, you know, there's a ton of discovery that she can't get.
That there are over 400 potential witnesses in the innocence phase alone. Have talked to less than 10%, well, less than 10% of those witnesses. Still experts yet to be hired. that we need to find an expert that has the right expertise and will work on the case with us.
Very important video that she's only gotten a piece of since this all started.
There is a video that's a really important video, and we early on received some of it. And we are still waiting for the complete of it. The court would know from our 11th discovery request that there's still outstanding portions of that video that we need to have. And I think the state's working through it, trying to match up video and sound together for the completion, the full several days worth of video. But there's not even an estimated day when we'll get that. And that is critical for us to review and hear all of that. So that's an example, Your Honor, that is not us saying we just don't want to go to trial, we just want to drag our feet. That is us saying there are critical things that we don't have.
In my mind, the video is probably that ring cam of the neighbors that, heard the noise, heard the dog barking, all that stuff that's in the PCA. I'm guessing that that's what the video would be. The other alternative would be that it's a video of his Elantra somewhere. But I don't know. And she's saying, I understand they probably have to put the sound to it and stuff. I'm like, why would they need to put the sound? It's a ring cam. It's most likely an MP4. Like, the sound is with it. Yeah, if you're trying to do some modifications to it, you can split the sound in the video. But why would you split the sound in the video before giving it to the defense, right? Why would you do anything like that? You would want to give it to them in their whole form. It's a little weird. And she still hasn't gotten that. Like, it should have came in one piece. Like, what do they have to do to it? So what's the rest of it? Furthermore, she's talking about she just got 900 tips like last week or a couple weeks ago, and they're not in any kind of order.
I have to read them and appreciate them and react to them and see what's there. That's the duty I owe to Bryan. That's his right for effective assistance of counsel to have me do those things. Your Honor, summer of 2024, it's impossible for us to do it. Our team constantly meets, we constantly work. We are on this. This is our priority. Bryan's our priority, but we are not going to be ready in June of 2024.
She's getting photos from the police and they're not labeled, so she can't tell which police officer took them, what day it came from. And that is sus as, because how did they do the investigation? They didn't label anything. They have to have naming conventions, because how else did you keep it organized? How else do you do your investigation? So for them to just data dump on the defense and the prosecution, I mean, that is sketchy. Doesn't seem like they would have gone through everything.
The state's pathway of how Bryan Kohberger comes to their attention and is identified. I've read that PC affidavit over and over and over again, and I'm not sure. Over a year into this case and everything I've read, and I've spoken with our team, we're not sure how the state decides on Bryan Kohberger. I know different pieces, but I don't know where they fit together.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense, because the first person that goes through the tips should be categorizing and organizing things, so that then the next level of FBI comes in and they're just looking at one source of information, one day, a timeline. How do you know that every single thing was looked at? How do you know that everything was investigated? You don't.
To learn Bryan's life story, we are to go all the way back to before he was born and learn his life story. We have to be prepared to talk about that in different ways. But it's not just his life story. We're required to go 3 generations back on each side, mom and dad. The court can imagine that there are a lot of documents that must be collected and examined and reviewed so that we are aware of things that we would need to present to our jury if we ever got to that phase.
The victim's family is corroborating the defense's argument. What? The Goncalves have a valid concern, and it's surprising that they would be voicing that at this juncture.
But do we need a whole nother year after this summer? I mean,
Ann Taylor went on to say that if she gets everything that she asked for on time, if witnesses cooperate, if she does this and that, the earliest that she could possibly do the trial is March of 2025. And she also went on to say that she wanted to ask for a change of venue. Prosecution doesn't want to change a venue. They think it should be done there, and they think it should be done during the summer when the university is closed. I think absolutely they need to change a venue. I know the case is everywhere, but people in that general area definitely know the details of the case. They know the people involved. Like, you're not going to get an impartial jury there. Like, that's just ridiculous. So I do think they should have a change of venue. Give them a fair trial.